Hello all, welcome back. I just wanted to jump back on here with a little bit of time I still have left in my lunch hour to share something else with you guys that I've had wanting to share about. And for some, this might not come as a surprise for you. You might be aware of it. But this is something that the mainstream media is not covering at all, my friends. They are not covering at all, unfortunately. Big balls birdie, exactly. This is something that, those of us who pay attention to things, who, get past the headlines, who read deeper into the news, we've known this. But I found out a few more things this weekend. So, about a decade ago, I remember reading, probably over a decade ago, reading that Border Patrol along the border were finding signs that Al-Qaeda was slipping over the border. That they found prayer rugs, copies of the Quran, that they found basically money from the Middle East. They found these kind of things on the border. Angel Chorus, thank you for inviting followers. I appreciate that. So, and one of the things that's interesting is Arabs can basically fit into the Latin community because they don't look that much different. And so that's something that they have been doing for some time, for over a decade now, of basically they will come into South America. Some of the intelligence sources that I've heard have said that they come in through Venezuela, that the Middle East, that some of these Arab countries have had deals with Venezuela where they come into Venezuela, they get forged passports, etc., and then they come over and slip over our southern border. That's troubling, my friends. Very troubling. And they will learn Spanish while they're in Latin America, etc., so they completely infiltrate that community. Slim Grady, thank you for inviting followers. Now, what's happening now is they've become partnered with the drug cartels, with the Mexican drug cartels. So a lot of these Mexican drug cartels aren't even being ran anymore by the Mexicans. Just Simon, thank you for inviting followers. They are being ran by ISIS, by Arabs, by Islamic terrorists. And part of this is kind of like why is this? Well, it's an enemy of my enemy is my friend, because ISIS, they want a weak United States, and they understand that the Mexican drug cartels are pouring resources across the border, that they are importing criminal activity, that they have criminal street gangs all throughout the United States, and they are wreaking havoc in the United States, and that will weaken us and destabilize our country. And so ISIS, who wants a destabilized, weaker United States, is funding that, because we have to remember, what is ISIS's eventual goal? Is to unite the entire world underneath an Islamic caliphate. They have said they will not rest until the flag of ISIS is raised above the White House. That's what they want. That's what they want. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's partnership between ISIS and the leftists. There's an FBI field report that shows Antifa. Several members of Antifa went from Oakland, right across the bay from San Francisco, where I work, went overseas to train with Al-Qaeda. That is just sickening, my friends. Sickening. That's Antifa. Antifa in Europe has been training with ISIS, etc. So back to the issue of our southern border and the drug cartels. What's happening now is these drug cartels are funneling children back to the Middle East. I was talking to my uncle, and he said he was talking to some people, some clients of his who are in intelligence and who are fighting the sex trafficking and stuff. And this guy, I don't know what government agency he is with, but he went had to go to the Middle East to rescue these children. Basically, these children, American children, who were kidnapped and sold into sex slavery in the Middle East. That's what's happening, my friends. So when you ask, well, what is ISIS getting getting out of it? One, they're getting their agenda of destabilizing our country, weakening our country, releasing crime and havoc into our country. And then they're actually getting something back in return. They're getting children, because pedophilia is huge in a lot of these Islamic nations. And so and they want white American, there's a demand for white Americans. And so, we see, a lot of Russian women being imported into the Middle East. And no, I'm not with InfoWars. I'm just myself. But we see Russians being imported into the Middle East for the sex trade. And we're seeing the American children. And so it's very likely, basically, if you hear about a kidnapped child, chances are they're being sold into the sex trade. It is absolutely sickening, my friends. And this is happening by the drug cartels. Yeah, and you're right. Islam has a long history of sex slavery going back to Muhammad, and we see it all throughout history. That culture is permeated. And that ideology, Islam as practiced by Muhammad, as practiced by the ISIS, etc., it doesn't belong in the West. And so we see this partnership between the drug cartels. They're they're giving them training and tactics, etc. We're seeing where the drug cartels have wreaked terror in Mexico, many parts of Mexico. There's no rule of law anymore. It's all operated by the cartels, and they are killing entire villages. They are killing and beheading Catholic priests and nuns. And that's another example of how ISIS is infiltrated, because these drug cartels, they would have never targeted the church before in that way, is what I've heard. And back in the day, they maybe would have intimidated them, etc., but they wouldn't have beheaded them. They wouldn't have done that kind of level of tactics, because they had a certain amount of respect for and fear of Christianity, of the Church of God. Now that Islam is creeping in, now that ISIS is coming in there, they are basically using those tactics, and we're seeing their viciousness towards the Catholic Church, towards Christianity, ratchet up tremendously. We're seeing MS-13 slipping over the border and using the unaccompanied minors program to send child soldiers throughout the United States. It's horrible, my friends, and that's why this wall needs to be built. It's not so we can stop a stem of illegal immigration. Platinum Mimi, thank you so much for the super heart. I appreciate that. But yeah, this is not about stopping people from coming over the border who want to make a better life. This is about stopping criminal activity. And that's why we have to understand about this wall. This wall, when we're saying build the wall, build the wall, build the wall, this is not about stopping a stem of immigration or maintaining a certain demographic balance. This is about taking back our country, about preserving law and order, and stopping the stem of drugs and crime, and that's going back and forth over our border. I mean, fentanyl is killing people in the United States, and that is all being brought over across our southern border. I mean, we actually said, it's actually hypothesized, and I don't know the final report, but for those of you who've been following me and remember when I was reporting in San Francisco, the 3 men who died in my neighborhood because of a drug overdose, that's because of fentanyl. It's becoming a huge problem on the streets of San Francisco. People are in serious trouble and people are dying because of fentanyl. That's coming across the border. So San Francisco, while they're putting all of these resources to educate the homeless community and to give them testing supplies, etc., and I'm going to get to what our options are and what our solution are, as they're talking about that and trying to figure out what to do, they're actually feeding the problem by being a sanctuary city, by opposing the wall. So if they actually cared about the people on the streets, about our homeless people, etc., they would actually be trying to stop the problems of what is basically killing them. It's evil. It's evil, my friends. Like, they would support the wall because the absence of the wall is feeding the violence, and it's literally killing our people. What do I think needs to be done? Well, one, we need the wall. Victoria, thank you for the super heart. That is much appreciated. Thank you so much. This is from people in law enforcement. This is from media reports. All of this stuff is public knowledge. It's not, it's not hidden stuff you can find. Yes, the wall is only part of the solution. It has to be accompanied with funding for border security, with funding for border patrol, etc. But it's a huge part. It will stem the flow. So what do we need to do? We need to pressure our leaders. We're in an election year. We're in a midterm. So what we first need to do is we need to go to the ballot box and vote in patriots who will support border security, who will fund the wall. That's what we need. So that's one thing, is we need to get the wall done, and we need to put people in office who will support it. Secondly, we need to end sanctuary cities. We need to end the fact that California is a sanctuary state. It is so damaging when felons are being released over and over and over again. When people who... No, I'm not racist. I'm not racist at all. But yes, and we need to criminally prosecute those politicians who are in opposition of sanctuary cities and who are obstructing justice. So we need to do this. It's not racism. It's not racism. It's only racism if we start, rounding up an entire ethnic group. We are simply saying you need to come here in the right way. You need to come here legally. And we cannot let people who've committed violent crimes, who have been convicted of violent crimes, be let back on the streets. And that's what sanctuary cities are doing. And it is just absolutely terrible. And I agree, most Muslims don't have a problem with Christianity. We're talking about a small minority. And so what we need to do is also control our voting. We need to, voter verification, voter ID laws are necessary. And we need to continue to support our law enforcement. So what did I say, basically? 1, build a wall. 2, end sanctuary city policies. And 3, strengthen our law enforcement to get dangerous criminals off of the street. That is so important. So those are the big things that need to be done. And along with all of that, we need to vote in the politicians, the legislators who will get this done, my friends. Who will not bow their knees to the globalists, who will not go along with the globalist elitist agenda that is trying to destroy our country, that wants a weak America. Every great empire crumbled from within, whether it was Greece or Rome or the British Empire. The U.S. will crumble from within if we do not wake up, my friends. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. And we need to take our country back from those criminals who are trying to destroy it. We need to take our country back from the Islamic terrorists who are pouring in over our border. We need to take back our country from those liberal leftist Marxists who are trying to take over our country, and who many of them are in government. And, the whole deep state thing. We need to root out the deep state, and we need patriots to arise. So, anyway, yeah, and I thank the Lord for the Persian immigrants. They are awesome. I have friends who are Persian. I love them. And they have done a lot of great stuff. So, anyway, God bless all of you. Thank you for tuning in. Follow me on here if you're not already following me. So you can be notified when I share other things. A lot of exciting stuff coming down the pipe. A lot of great stuff coming down the stream that I will be talking about. I love it when people jump on here and say racist things and threaten me simply for that. Well, no, we need to build the wall, and what we should do is actually we should make the drug cartels pay for it. When we seize their assets, it should pay for the wall, because we can seize their assets. And so, like the El Chapo, assets we've seized, we should use that, and we should build a nice wall fund with all of the drug money that we are seizing, and we could pay for the wall with that easily, my friends, easily. So anyway, that's basically it. Thank you for the super hearts and the stars. I really appreciate it. It's much appreciated. I think that we will have super broadcaster status here before too long. And so that is something that I'm looking forward to. If you watched my Periscope from earlier today when I'm talking about the stuff that I am planning on attending in the coming month, because there's some several protests that I'm planning. If you want to participate, feel free to connect with me. Follow me on Twitter. My email is in my profile here, so feel free to connect with me on there as well. Also, if you want to support my activism, if you want to help me buy gear, etc., there's several ways. One is with my email. That's also my PayPal address, so you can PayPal money to outfit my gear so I can be doing better Periscopes, so I can document the stuff on the streets from here in the Bay Area better. So you can do that. You can also go onto my Twitter. My Bitcoin address is right now my pinned tweet, so you can go on there and send me Bitcoin as well. So basically PayPal, Bitcoin. You can also vote for me on MyGoat. I have an Amazon wish list of the gear I want. It should be posted up there on my Twitter as well. If it's a little buried, just email me, and I'll send you the link for that. Because there are some things. I want to get a GoPro to better film when I'm on the streets in these protest situations. But thanks to your generosity and your help, I've already been able to enlarge my gear kit. I got a new battery pack this past week, so that'll help me tremendously. So I appreciate all of that. Anyway, thank you all. Thank you all for just blasting these messages out there, sharing this with your peeps and everything. We need to continue to get the message out there, to continue to shine light into the midst of darkness. And as we do that, we will take this country back, my friends. So thank you all for this amazing broadcast and all of your support during it and every other broadcast. God bless. Have a great day.